Hello everybody, today we're going to write a piece of music. We're going to start from scratch, we're going to keep it really simple. So whether you are literally just starting out writing music, or whether you've been doing it for a while but you've hit some roadblocks and you just can't work out how to make everything come together, today's the day which we're going to explore not the basics but the foundations of all bits of music. The way I'm going to do this, we're going to just create a very simple kind of few bars of a tune. We're going to start with a motif, the sort of smallest indivisible unit of music in a way. We're going to develop that into a phrase and then develop the phrase into a tune. We're then going to add chords to that, and then we're going to do some simple kind of arrangement to get those things up and running. So that then we've got a kind of basic unit of music, which we could then go on and develop into something much more complicated. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to keep it, as I say, really simple. So we've got electric piano, acoustic guitar, an acoustic piano, a bass, violins, violas and cellos, all that kind of thing. That's I'm really going to be using like only half a dozen tracks. So amidst all the mayhem that is Black Friday, all these different things coming at you from all sides, we're going to try and simplify and get back to basics. And if you are tempted by Black Friday, you could always go to the ThinkSpace store, Google ThinkSpace courses and explore our courses in the Black Friday sale. So what I'm saying is you can invest in yourself and your skills rather than more gear. But let's cut to the chase and get on with coming up with a motif. That's where I'm going to start. This is not the only way to write a piece of music. Obviously, you can start with harmony, you can start with text, you can start with almost anything, but for the sake of argument today, we're going to start with some kind of basic. That is essentially a motif. But that's not what we're going to use. Okay, if we go these four notes, this is the basis of our motif, yes? But that by itself isn't really a motif. What it needs, yes, a sequence of notes, but it needs rhythm as well. Rhythm is really important, because listen, if I play it, it's different to. I like. That's got a certain kick to it. Right, so there is the motif. How are we going to turn that into a tune? Well, a lot of tunes there's all kinds of different tune structures, essentially. A very common way of doing this is essentially four phrases make up the little. So it's four sections. So if we start with this, okay, it ends on the F, right? Now, that sort of goes up, so I'm now going to have I'm going to sort of invert the phrase a bit and go. Okay. So what goes up must come down. So we've got the first two parts of this. It's gone away, now it comes back. Ending on D. Now, the third one frequently just repeats the first part of the phrase, note for note. And then the last bit brings the whole thing home. Okay, there is a tune. Really simple, really, really simple. Let's play this in. Okay, right. Now, we're going to need to add harmony to this. When you're choosing chords to go with the melody, you can do it by ear, and lots of people will just kind of work out how the whole thing goes together, and that's great. If you're not sure what you're doing, as a rule of thumb, you can absolutely guarantee, if you play a chord of C, which is a C, an E and a G, if your melody note is either C or G, it is definitely going to fit with that C major chord. So each note, like that C, occurs if we're just looking at diatonic chords, white note chords, okay, it occurs in C, but it also occurs in A minor, and it occurs in F. So each note will occur in three diatonic chords. So we could have, as our tune goes up, so we got C, E, G, so clearly it's implying a C major chord. But we can't stay there when it goes to that sound, because there's a huge clash going on there. So for F, the obvious chord to go to is F major, because chords 1, 4 and 5 are the primary colours. So now back to chord 1. Okay, now we can't keep it for that D. So what can we use? Well, chord 5 is, we could go to D minor or chord 7, but chord 7 we don't talk about. So that's just using chords 1, 4 and 5, which is fine, but it would be nicer if we could find some kind of variation. Let's just play that in to start with, and then we'll see what we can do. Right, okay, that is now played in. What can we do to make that more interesting? Because frankly, no. How about A minor there? So we're going. That works. Even just changing that one chord makes a huge difference to the sound of the whole tune. Let's play that in. So we're going to go chord 1, chord 4, chord 6, chord 5, chord 1, chord 4, 1, 5, 1. Okay, this is now the foundations of a piece of music. Now, it's not particularly complicated, but even so, something I strongly advise people to do, particularly if they're uncertain how to make their chords and melodies work together, is to use a marker track. So you just drop in a marker for each chord change, and then we're going to put a label on it. Then you can see what you're doing. So one of the problems with working straight into a door is you're sort of composing blind. So you have to remember what all the other lines are you've already played in. And if you get that wrong, for example, if we forgot that was an A minor and thought it was still a C, some of the tracks would be referencing C major, some would be referencing A minor, and it would be a car crash. An absolute car crash. And we don't want that to happen, do we? No, of course not. Okay, what I'm going to do is now put in the chord symbols, or just literally chord letters is all I'm going to do. So dun dun dun, F, A minor, dum dum dum, G, C, dun dun dum, C, G, C. There we go. Right, so if you look at the top here, can you see that? There we go. It's really simple, but it just reminds you, why would you need that, Guy? Why would you need that? Well, let's have a look. Suppose we think this is a little bit boring and we wanted to mix it up a bit. So if we just get rid of our block chords for a moment and go on to the acoustic guitar. So now I'm going to improvise in a piece, an accompaniment on an acoustic guitar. Now, this is where it really comes into its own, because when you're just improvising away, it's really easy to slightly get out of sync with harmonically what's going on in the piece. So I'm going to follow the chords as I play in my little top, my new accompaniment, essentially. Right, here we go. Do it again, Guy. Sorry. I went to C major rather than A minor, even though I was looking at it saying. And I then cocked up the end. Doesn't matter, we can go back and do that. We will redo the end with a little bit of a, there you go, take that out. Go into merge, and then I can play in those three. I won't do the. That's all I'm going to do at the end. Right. So now we have a viable piece which now desperately wants a bass line. Okay, here we go. So. Right, now I can also hear there's a controller going wrong here somewhere. Let's have a little look. Yeah, there you go. So because I dropped in, you need to go, this is CC64, which is the sustain pedal, and it has gone off where it shouldn't have gone off. So that will sort that out. There we go. So now it won't hold on. That's good. Right. Now, this is fine by itself, but you wouldn't just drop into the beginning of this. We're not going to do a full arrangement for this, but we are going to add a little intro. So having established what my piece is, I'm now going to move the whole thing down 2 bars. So the tune comes in bar 3. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, bar 3, that'll do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by, what are we going to use for the intro? How about this? Should we use this acoustic guitar thing? Because the acoustic guitar, I think, could work quite well. So we're going to, like that. Okay. Bit lost and lonely. Let's add, how about a bit of violin? This is solo violin, because I'm quite keen on solo instruments, from soft string soloists from Fracture Sounds. It's a nice sound. Here, look, I'll show you how it goes. Let's add some of this and see how this goes. Now, there was one bit in that which absolutely did not work. And it's really important that you can hear that when you come to write a piece of music. Just listen through to it again and see if you can hear where the whole thing went off the rails. Right at the end there, something is very badly wrong. Let's have a little listen and work out what it is. Tidy up some of these other bits and pieces, but so it's going chord 1, chord 5, chord 1. So we got a C, we got a B, we got a C. That's fine. But you can't have, and that E was held all the way through. So in other words, when it went to a chord 5 on beat 2, it stayed on the E, and the E clashed with the note. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that note there. We're going to go put a D in there, and then go back to the E again. So now it's going to go June, June, June. See if this sounds any better. Yes, it does sound better. Okay, what we've got going on here then is the beginning of a piece of music. Now, Now, it could become much, much more complicated. We could throw all kinds of exciting things in. But we have got a little intro. It goes like this. Now, you would then go on and go, okay, let's repeat our theme again, but we'll vary it and we'll add some additional instrumentation. We might put the lead line on a different instrument. Then we go to a B section, and then we can go back to our A's. And then that whole thing you can repeat the whole thing, and thus the whole thing grows. But I think if you don't, and it's really useful going back to these foundations, really, of what it is to write a piece of music. Because you can try, just trying how many different ways can I add chords to that simple tune, and what does each of those harmonic approaches bring to the party? What is it, because every time you arrange it differently, it's going to be a different animal. So whether as I say, this isn't just a thing for people like you, Benjamin in the Philippines, like you, Angela in Detroit, who've just started writing music. It's for people who've been at it a while, and it just somehow everything gets away from you, and you can never quite get that feeling of it all kind of coming together and feeling really comfortable. A lot of the time it's to do with melody versus harmony, or harmony versus melody. And I think if you approach it like this, develop your basic themes along these lines. You don't have to write music this way. There's loads of other ways to do it. You can start with harmony, start with texture, start with a rhythmic motif, write all kinds of other things you can do. But this is a pretty solid way to get yourself up and running. And we're using 4 tracks or something like that. So before you go out and spend all your hard-earned money on millions of new instruments and plugins and everything else, invest in yourself. Invest in the time to sit down and learn, and to really develop your own musicality, and just have more fun, because the more you know, the more fun you'll have. Talking of the more you know, ThinkSpace Education is doing a Black Friday sale. So just Google ThinkSpace courses and you will find all kinds of things at an amazing discount price. Oh, incredible. Right. Hope you found that useful, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye.